Knicks. So the Knicks pulled off a bit of a Game 1 upset. They beat the Boston Celtics in overtime with a 20-point comeback win, one of the largest comebacks in franchise history for the Knicks. So my question is, what are the odds Knicks can pull off this upset in the series, 1 through 10? What are you going with?
I'm going to go – you can't say 7 because that's 2 in the middle.
Oh!
But I actually think that it's better than what people think. I've been joking since before Game 1, to you at least, not anything on the air, saying Knicks in 6. But a lot of people want to point out that the Celtics had a bad shooting performance and just overall had a bad game. But the Knicks also didn't play up to their level. They missed a ton of free throws. Like Mitchell Robinson, they're gonna if he's making his free throws.
Bridges didn't shoot
well, and
Cat didn't play.
And
well.
also, Cat didn't play well. Cat doesn't have to be the mainstay offensively, but he can't. Like watching that game, late in the game, he's letting guys like Jaylen Brown out rebound him. You got to put a body on a guy like Jaylen Brown and box him out. I know Cat's more of a finesse type big, but he's not the guy offensively, so he has to show up in other ways. And he's not asked to be the guy offensively, so like he's got to give them what he can offensively and show up in other areas. So I want to say more than 6, but less than 7.
So I think there's about, I'm going to go a 30% chance. And I think it's a lot more to do with the Celtics than the Knicks because the Celtics are so banged up. Drew Holiday's missed games. Tatum's missed games. Jaylen Brown did not look good at all.
And Porzingis might be out.
Porzingis, was it an illness?
Illness, yeah.
It's always something. That guy is just a plus if you get him on the court at this point of his career. But it's honestly what I've noticed a lot that's happened in the NBA this last few years. These dominant teams just get really hurt by injuries a lot of the times in the playoffs, and it kind of seems like the Celtics are starting to like just turn into a Band-Aid team. And if they're really banged up, honestly, then this series can get really interesting. I wonder how the Knicks play in the Garden. If the Garden's going crazy, which it will, and the Knicks could win there, then they really could have the chance of pulling off an upset. And like I said, I'm just really worried about the Celtics. Just their health-wise, they don't look like the same team as last year. And besides Derek White, no one of that core is close to 100%. And, of course, at this time of the year, nobody is really 100%. But a lot of those guys are really starting to worry me. And, look, Jason Tatum's a superstar. But when he has to carry a team and it's all the pressure's on him, that's where you kind of start seeing his flaws, in my opinion.
The Celtics, obviously the defending champions from last year. But even last year, I feel like they kind of had an easy path to the finals. They were the favorite all the time, and the Knicks are kind of this underdog, greedy team. Yes, they don't have a lot of the playoff experience, but OG Anunoby is a champion. Mikal Bridges has played in the finals, and people want to, I don't know, kind of flack the Knicks for not having anyone else step up besides Brunson really throughout the regular season, but they have their other lower tier role player type guys who just haven't shown up. Mikal Bridges is supposed to be that guy. OG Anunoby is supposed to be that guy. Yeah, and
OG Anunoby played great.
And OG Anunoby did play great, and we saw Mikal Bridges step up late. But even if Brunson hits that shot to end the game, it's a game winner. Knicks win and all that, but we're still not talking about Mikal Bridges as well as we are now because he didn't have that. He wouldn't have had that overtime period.
He didn't put up like great numbers at all. But he was so effective,
and he made winning plays. So but you know what I mean? Where I'm saying that if he didn't have that, we wouldn't be talking about Mikal Bridges in a good light.
And
right
hypothetically, when the Knicks made that Mikal Bridges trade, I know they just matched up so bad against Boston in the regular season, but you think about it, they have Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Those are two wings that can match up really well with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I wonder, man, regular season playoffs are a different breed. I wonder if now it's different because I saw a lot of Knicks fans talking about this, like that are diehard. And they match out every single time they played the Celtics in the regular season. Like they said, I know this sounds corny, but we found something. We thought we were getting closer, and they went 0-4 against the regular season. But here they are pulling out an upset in Game 1, and now you got a legit shot. I'm not calling them the favorites, but you're gonna have 2 games at the Garden to at least make it 2-2 to make it best out of 3.
And as the underdog, you already stole one. You know, it's the old saying that a series doesn't start until the away team wins, and yeah, that's kind of corny, whatever. But like, if that's what you live by, hey, the series has started.
By the way, crazy NBA stat. First time ever where in the second round or more, where 5 straight times the road teams won. The road team's 5-0 in this series so far, which is crazy.
There's been, 3 buzzer beaters?
There's been some crazy. Aaron Gordon, Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton's a dog.
Yeah,
my God. Yeah, there's been some crazy games. A lot of good stuff going on in the NBA.
But, of course, this episode's going to come out after Game 2.
Yeah,
so by the time it's out...
Well, I'm going to assume the Knicks lose. There's just no way they go up 2-0.
They shouldn't. Of course they shouldn't.
If they do, oh my God.
If they shouldn't, but if they do, oh my, yeah.
1-1 headed back to the Garden. You love where you're at.
Yeah, and I'm not even a Knicks fan, and in the past, I feel like I could have been a Knicks hater almost, but I'm excited. And Jalen Brunson, dude, he's
awesome to watch.
He's just this underdog.
He's turning in. If he pulls this off, man, and I'm looking at the camera, say this, he has a chance to be the greatest Knick ever over Patrick Ewing.
Yes, and he doesn't really even have a ceiling. Like he just
pulls it off.
Yeah.
He just got a really good mentality, and he's honestly 6'1" is generous for his height. It's crazy how it's a great story, just Jalen Brunson in general. How he really was a bench player for Dallas, really started improving, and became an awesome player.
The Heat the Knicks
got. Oh
got
my
when
God,
they
got
him,
that contract.
But they were like, oh, this is the guy you're going to get. This is the guy you're giving your money to.
Yeah,
and he's really just proved everyone wrong.
Everything and more for them. So really looking forward to seeing how that series plays out. Henry, do we get a voicemail before we get into some baseball?
Sir.
Hey, this is Tom from East Rutherford. Look, the Giants. You look at the defensive line and the picks they pick with Carter and the kid from Toledo, they look like they're going to be pretty good. The problem I have is this regime looks like it's not for long. And if next year they're gone and they have Jackson Dart on the team, don't you think if they finish in their top 10 picks next year, which is a distinct possibility if you look at their schedule, don't you think they might pick another quarterback next year with the class that's coming out? I can see it happen. Let me know your thoughts.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, I totally could see that. I mentioned this last week how because they took Jackson Dart at pick 25 and not pick 3 or let's say or top 10, really if this regime gets fired, they go 3-14. Assuming this regime gets fired, Dart probably plays a few games, doesn't look great. You're sitting in a world where, hey, let's just flip this guy for a day 2 pick and let's take the quarterback we love. That happens. That's not the end of the world to me.
What if, though, the Giants have a horrible season, 3 to 5 wins, but Dart comes in towards the end of the season and looks phenomenal?
It's rare that happens. I mean, I guess the Patriots are doing it right now.
Well, you would think that if he's looking phenomenal in game, he would come in earlier, and they wouldn't have 3 to 5.
You would assume I feel like you would just assume those guys would stay. Honestly, if Dart looks really good and they don't look good record-wise.
Yes,
because the quarterback's the most important part of the team.
And and if he's playing well, I feel like you got to keep. I don't know.
But no, I agree. But there's totally a world where the Giants have a top 10 pick and Arch Manning's available. Nico, the guy that transferred from Tennessee.
Oh, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
I saw he's a top 10 pick. One of those guys are available, and you hire the new guy, falls in love with it. Happens a decent amount. Just a few years ago, Cliff Kingsbury took the Cardinals job. They took Kyler Murray, traded Josh Rosen for a day 2 pick. Could happen. And like I said, I just don't mind it because he was the 25th overall pick. So, look, if you find out he's not your franchise quarterback and you really like a top 10 potential quarterback, take him.
It's not even like Josh Rosen was not good. He was horrible.
Yeah, hopefully he's not Josh Rosen.
One of the worst quarterbacks we've ever seen get drafted in the first round. But I also feel like, obviously, Shane and Dable have been dealt a bad hand. But if you almost have to let them see this through.
I agree.
Because that would put the Giants in a worse situation if Dart shows any promise and then you move off Dable and Shane next year and then they move off Dart. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's just a tough situation.
But if they have another year like they did this year, where this year was one of the worst years of their franchise ever, if that's another year, these guys aren't surviving.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine that's
and
not gonna happen.
then that means that you whoever comes in chooses the new quarterback
Yeah, of
at that
course.
point.